What if one tiny snowflake could show you where to go next? It sounds like something from a fairy tale, doesn't it? A single, perfect crystal of ice drifting through the winter air, holding the secret to your next step. But sometimes the most magical guidance comes in the quietest, smallest forms, appearing when we feel most lost in the world. Imagine a boy, let's call him Leo, who felt like a stranger in his own life. He was adrift in a sea of expectations. His schoolwork felt like a heavy anchor pulling him down into subjects he didn't care about. His friends were changing, their conversations filled with plans and ambitions that felt foreign to him. He'd laugh along, but inside, a silent question echoed. Who am I supposed to be? He saw paths branching out before him, but none of them felt like his own. The future wasn't a bright horizon. It was a thick, confusing fog. Every morning, he'd put on a brave face, but underneath, he was just a boy, lost and tired, wondering if he would ever find a place where he truly belonged. One cold winter evening, the weight of it all became too much to bear. The quiet hum of his home felt suffocating, the glow of screens too bright. He needed air, space, a moment of silence from the noise in his head. Pulling on his jacket, he stepped out into the biting chill. He had no destination in mind, no plan at all. His hands found their way deep into his pockets, fingers curling against the cold fabric. His breath plumed in the air as he walked, his footsteps the only sound on the empty street. He walked with his head down, his thoughts swirling like a storm, heavy and relentless. Each step was just another step away from everything, but he didn't know what he was walking toward. As he walked, a change began in the air around him. The sky, a deep, dark velvet, started to release its first whispered secrets of the season. A single, delicate snowflake descended, dancing in the soft glow of a streetlight. It twirled and hesitated, as if searching for the perfect place to land. And then it settled gently on the dark fabric of his glove. For a moment, it rested there, a miniature masterpiece of ice, its 6 points perfectly symmetrical, a tiny star against the wool. He held his breath, mesmerized by its simple perfection. Then a soft gust of wind lifted it from his glove, and it began to drift away, floating gently down the street. It was just a snowflake, yet in that moment it felt like an invitation. A strange impulse took hold of him, a whisper in his heart that he couldn't explain. He decided to follow it. Without a second thought, he started walking, his eyes fixed on the small, white speck dancing ahead of him. The snowflake led him on a quiet, meandering journey. He turned down a narrow lane he hadn't noticed before, crossed a street under the soft glow of festive lights, and followed it as it swirled past silent, sleeping houses. He wasn't thinking about his problems anymore. All his focus, all his attention was on this tiny, fragile guide. It was a game, a silent chase through the winter night, and, for the first time in a long while, his mind was clear, his steps light. The snowflake's journey was nearing its end. It drifted lower and lower, finally coming to rest near an old, familiar park bench. It melted instantly, a tiny, fleeting teardrop on the cold wood. Leo stopped and stared at the bench. He knew this place. It was where he used to sit as a small child, his legs too short to touch the ground. This was where he had dreamed his biggest, bravest dreams. He remembered pretending he was an astronaut, exploring new galaxies, a writer creating magical worlds, an artist painting canvases with every color of the rainbow. Here, he had been fearless. Here, he had known exactly who he was. He slowly sat down on the cold bench, the same one from his memories. As more snow began to fall around him, blanketing the world in a soft, peaceful silence, the memories came flooding back. He remembered the pure, simple joy of drawing for hours, the thrill of finishing a story he'd written, the feeling of absolute freedom he had felt in this very spot. He remembered the quiet but confident voice of his younger self, a voice that knew exactly what made him happy, what sparked a fire in his soul. It was a voice he hadn't heard in years, drowned out by the noise of shoulds and have-tos. Sitting there in the quiet of the falling snow, he finally heard it again. Sometimes direction isn't a loud sign in the sky or a detailed map handed to you. It's not a grand revelation that strikes like lightning. Sometimes it's just a small, quiet feeling, a tiny snowflake that leads you not to a new place, but back to the home within your own heart. It leads you back to your true self. He looked up, a soft smile on his face, and let the snowflakes fall on his cheeks. Then he stood up and began to walk, his steps calmer, his shoulders a little lighter. He was still on the same street, in the same town, but now he knew which way he was going. If you enjoyed this story, it's a great way to learn English. Follow our channel for more stories to help you practice and improve. Thanks for watching.